Good evening, my fellow YouTubers. It is my honor and distinct privilege to join you here today in the Hall of Tube. I am Batman, and I know that at the time this video is posted it will receive very few, if any, views, but perhaps someday people will look back on it and know that I meant business from the very beginning. I was born in the month of September, and if you've played The Sims, you know that being born in the month of September makes you a Virgo. And similarly, if you've played The Sims, you know that being a Virgo makes you a perfectionist. And so being born a perfectionist, I learned early on the value of learning from one's mistakes. It is something that I try to apply to both my life and Call of Duty religiously. And it has left me with some valuable insight on both life and Call of Duty. And to fully understand that insight, you have to first appreciate the fact that Call of Duty is a microcosm of life. I know that sounds heavy, and that's because it is. Basically, Call of Duty will prove two things to you. The first is that the world is full of really stupid fucking people. Second, the few smart people in the world are complete assholes. And so that leaves a very small minority of rather intelligent people who also care about the world around them. I like to think that I'm one of those people without sounding like a self-righteous piece of shit. Basically, the goal of this channel would be twofold: to make you better at Call of Duty and to make you better at life. And sometimes there are single tips that apply to both. For instance, checking your corners. You want to check your corners in the game to make sure there's a bad guy not there. The most significant of which is your ability to control your emotions. It's no big secret out there in the world that a frustrated or upset person is a less effective person. The one exclusion maybe being like medieval battlefields where, you know, if you're fighting with blunt objects or sharp objects, or if you're just fighting, you know, basically mano-a-mano, that would be the one good time to let your emotions kind of take over. But we don't live in a world of that kind of warfare anymore. We live with modern warfare. And just as it is in real life, you know, I know Call of Duty isn't a very realistic game at all, but the one sort of applicable attribute to real life is the fact that it's a game of outthinking your opponent, just as it is in real life. You know, we didn't get Osama bin Laden because we just went in there and brute forced it because our guys were stronger. Before going in there, they practiced in a cardboard mansion that was, you know, a mock-up of the mansion they knew he was staying in. They had everything figured out going into there. They knew what room Osama's bedroom was. They knew where, quote-unquote, the enemy spawn was. Things like that. They practiced going in there before they went in there. And to get there, they had, you know, special equipment. To know he was there, they had special, you know, reconnaissance tactics. It's all tactics. And if anyone had been thinking with an unclear head, a frustrated head, if they were angry, upset, it would have fucked it all up. You know, if the president wasn't thinking clear-headedly, he might have fucked it up, jumped the gun or whatever. But, you know, people at that level in their profession are very strict in the way that they keep their emotions under control and discipline. And so what I'm saying is that applies 100% to Call of Duty too. In the sense that if you're frustrated, if you're angry, if you're getting mad at the game, if the game is annoying you, if when somebody kills you, you find yourself screaming that was bullshit. Even when it's, you know, we've all been there where it's like every single death upsets you to a point of unhealthy frustration. That means you're taking the game way too seriously, and you need to settle down, because if you start flipping out about every single individual death, you know, even in the start of the game, like everyone, it's not very rare for somebody to take 1 or 2 deaths in the beginning of the game getting started. Even the best players still die before they get a kill sometimes. And if you start, getting really, really upset with yourself over things like that, you're just going to, the more frustrated you get, the worse you're going to play. And the worse you play, the more frustrated you'll get. And it's like this really, really bad cycle. So you want to avoid that. The best way to do it is just kind of remind yourself that it is just a game. And then, if that doesn't work, remind yourself that you would be playing better if you weren't upset. And then sort of subconsciously, the angry midget inside of you will say, okay, if I want to play better, I better settle down. I know that sounds, sociopathic, pathological, and weird, but I promise you it works. Now, the other side to this is that you can sort of prey on other people's emotions. If you make somebody else mad, they're going to play worse, and then you can take advantage of the fact that they're playing worse. Sort of success builds on success in this game, That's why I haven't seen percentages, but I'd bet on average, after a first AC 130 or something has been called in and somebody's, gotten shit on by it, it's going to, I bet, there's a percentage out there where, it's more common to get a second Reaper after getting a first Reaper as opposed to just getting that first Reaper, if that makes sense. But I digress. But what I'm saying is, yeah, you can prey on other people's frustrations, and that's why I use shotguns, because nothing makes people angrier than shotguns. You run around with a shotgun, every kill you get, that person is getting frustrated, and they start playing worse, and that's how you win games. And yeah, so that's that. That's how that goes the first time around. See how this works out. May the Force be with us all in the future to come. And this is Batman signing out.